Throughout history, humans have sought communion with the divine through prayer, that sacred conversation between the mortal and the eternal. Yet how many of us have pondered the significance of our physical position during these spiritual moments? Does the body's posture influence the soul's journey during prayer? The ancient wisdom preserved in spiritual traditions worldwide suggests that our physical alignment carries profound meaning. When we stand in prayer, we embody reverence and readiness. When we kneel, we express humility and surrender. But what happens to your soul when you pray lying down, in that horizontal position of rest and vulnerability? This question touches upon the subtle relationship between our physical form and spiritual essence. The renowned American mystic Cayce offered remarkable insights on this subject, suggesting that our bodily position creates specific energetic pathways through which divine communication flows. According to his readings, the human body is not merely a vessel, but a sophisticated instrument for spiritual attunement. When we lie down to pray, something unique occurs in our energetic system. The spine aligns horizontally, allowing energy to flow differently compared to when we stand or kneel. This positioning can induce a state where the conscious mind begins to quiet, creating space for deeper spiritual impressions to emerge. The horizontal position naturally relaxes the physical body, releasing tension that might otherwise create barriers to spiritual connection. As muscles unwind and breathing deepens, we may enter a threshold state, not fully awake, yet not asleep, where the soul finds freedom to commune more directly with higher realms of consciousness. Consider how many spiritual experiences throughout history have occurred during states of repose. From prophetic dreams to healing visions, the boundary between wakefulness and sleep has long been recognized as fertile ground for divine encounter. When we intentionally pray while lying down, we consciously enter this liminal space of spiritual possibility. This posture also symbolizes surrender and trust. Just as we release ourselves completely to sleep each night, praying in a reclined position represents the soul's willingness to fully entrust itself to divine care. There is vulnerability in this position, a recognition that we are not in control, but rather opening ourselves completely to guidance and grace. Yet this practice carries certain challenges. The very relaxation that opens spiritual doorways can sometimes lead to drowsiness or sleep, particularly for those unaccustomed to maintaining awareness while the body rests. This is why many spiritual traditions have emphasized more alert postures for prayer and meditation, helping practitioners remain present and conscious during communion with the divine. The wisdom of ancient spiritual disciplines teaches us that the body's position serves as a physical affirmation of our inner state. Our posture becomes a living prayer in itself, an embodied statement of our relationship with the divine. When we pray lying down, we physically express receptivity, surrender, and the equality that exists between all souls when horizontal before the divine. Modern scientific understanding adds another dimension to this ancient wisdom. We now know that body position affects blood flow, nervous system activity, and brainwave patterns. The reclined position triggers specific physiological responses that may indeed create favorable conditions for certain types of spiritual experience, supporting what mystics have intuited for centuries. When we explore the spiritual landscape of prayer, we discover that each bodily posture creates its own unique frequency of connection with the divine. Like different musical instruments producing distinct tones, our physical positioning during prayer resonates differently with the spiritual realms. Let us examine how these various postures influence the soul's journey during communion with the divine. Standing in prayer activates the energy of presence and dignity. When we stand, our spine aligns vertically, creating a direct channel between earth and heaven. This posture awakens the qualities of strength, alertness, and readiness to serve. Many traditions use standing prayer to express reverence and to embody the soul's upright intention. The energetic quality of standing prayer tends to be more dynamic and outwardly directed, often associated with declarations, affirmations, and expressions of faith that require strength and conviction. Kneeling introduces the element of humility and submission. This posture physically lowers our stature, symbolizing the ego's willingness to bow before something greater than itself. When we kneel, we create a physiological state that reinforces our spiritual surrender. The pressure on the knees grounds our energy, while the upright torso maintains connection with higher realms. This intermediate position perfectly expresses the human condition, beings of dust reaching toward the divine. The energetic signature of kneeling prayer often carries tones of reverence, petition, and the acknowledgement of divine authority. Sitting in meditation or prayer offers a balanced middle path. With the spine erect yet relaxed, this position allows for extended periods of spiritual communion without physical strain. Sitting creates stability and endurance, allowing the practitioner to maintain awareness while the body remains comfortable. This posture is particularly conducive to receptive states of contemplation and listening. The energetic quality of seated prayer tends towards centered awareness, equilibrium, and sustained attention, creating space for both speaking and listening to the divine. And then there is lying down, the horizontal posture that invites a completely different spiritual experience. When we pray while reclined, we enter a state where the boundaries between conscious and subconscious begin to dissolve. The physical surrender of horizontal prayer often induces alpha and theta brainwave states, which research associates with creativity, healing, and intuitive insight. These altered states of consciousness can open doorways to deeper spiritual perception that more alert postures might not access. Lying down in prayer can activate what mystics have called the body of light, that subtle energetic aspect of our being that transcends physical limitation. In this reclined state, many report sensations of floating, expansion, and profound receptivity. The nervous system shifts toward parasympathetic dominance, creating physiological conditions where inner barriers naturally relax. This can allow divine impressions to register more deeply within both the conscious and subconscious aspects of our being. The horizontal position also changes our relationship with gravity, that ever-present force that shapes our physical experience. When standing or sitting, we actively resist gravity's pull, requiring muscular engagement. But when lying down, we surrender completely to this fundamental force. This physical surrender parallels a spiritual surrender that can be profoundly transformative, teaching the soul to release resistance and trust in greater forces at work. Each of these prayer postures activates different energy centers within our subtle anatomy. Standing prayer tends to activate the lower energy centers related to stability and power. Kneeling engages the heart center, cultivating devotion and emotional connection. Sitting often awakens the throat and third eye centers, enhancing clear communication and insight. Lying down can stimulate the crown center, opening consciousness to transcendent awareness and unity. It's worth noting that different spiritual traditions have recognized these distinct energetic signatures and incorporated them into their practices. Judaism emphasizes standing prayer in the Amidah. Christianity embraces kneeling in many of its devotional practices. Buddhism cultivates seated meditation as its central practice. And various mystical traditions across cultures have employed horizontal positions for specific spiritual experiences, particularly those involving healing, visionary states, or communion with divine beings. The wisdom lies not in declaring one posture superior to others, but in recognizing that each serves different aspects of our spiritual journey. Like a complete language with its various parts of speech, these postures together create a full vocabulary for the soul's conversation with the divine. The mature spiritual practitioner learns to utilize each position according to the needs of the moment and the nature of their communion. The act of praying while lying down connects us to one of the most profound mysteries of human existence, the sacred symbolism of repose. When we recline in prayer, we enter a state that mirrors two fundamental transitions every soul must experience: sleep and death. This horizontal positioning is not merely a physical arrangement, but a powerful spiritual metaphor that has been recognized across traditions throughout the ages. Sleep itself is a daily rehearsal for the ultimate surrender. Each night, we willingly relinquish conscious control, trusting that we will return to wakefulness renewed. This rhythmic surrender is perhaps humanity's most universal spiritual practice, even if rarely recognized as such. When we intentionally pray in this same horizontal position, we tap into this ancient wisdom encoded in our very nature, the wisdom of cyclical surrender and renewal. Consider the profound spiritual teaching embedded in our nightly retreat into unconsciousness. We spend approximately 1/3 of our lives in this mysterious state of being, neither fully present in the material world nor completely absent from it. Sleep represents a threshold state where the soul partially withdraws from physical awareness while remaining connected to life. This liminal experience offers a profound spiritual lesson about the nature of consciousness itself and its relationship to physical form. The horizontal prayer position deliberately invokes this threshold quality. When we lie down to commune with the divine, we physically embody the soul's capacity to exist between worlds, present yet surrendered, conscious yet receptive, active in communication yet passive in posture. This paradoxical state creates unique conditions for spiritual insight and transformation that more active prayer positions cannot replicate. Death, that ultimate horizontal transition, adds another layer of meaning to reclined prayer. Across cultures, we lay our departed loved ones horizontally as they make their transition from this world. This universal practice acknowledges the profound symbolism of the horizontal position as representing the soul's release from vertical, active engagement with earthly existence. When we pray lying down, we symbolically practice this ultimate surrender, reminding the soul of its transient relationship with the physical form. Ancient Egyptian spiritual practices recognize this profound connection between horizontal positioning and spiritual transition. Their elaborate funerary preparations place the deceased in a horizontal position, symbolizing the soul's journey into other realms of existence. Similarly, in many indigenous traditions, vision quests and spiritual healing ceremonies often involve lying horizontally upon the earth, physically expressing the soul's willingness to journey between worlds of consciousness. The symbolism extends further when we consider that both birth and death occur in horizontal positions. We enter this world horizontally and depart it in the same manner. These most sacred transitions of the soul, its arrival into and departure from physical existence, are marked by horizontal alignment. Prayer in this position therefore connects us with the complete cycle of incarnation, a profound reminder of the temporary nature of our physical journey and the eternal nature of our spiritual essence. Modern psychology has also recognized the significance of horizontal positioning for accessing deeper states of consciousness. Carl Jung and his followers documented how the reclined position during dream analysis and active imagination helped individuals access unconscious material and archetypal wisdom. The horizontal alignment seems to facilitate the dissolution of boundaries between conscious and unconscious awareness, creating a more integrated state of being where spiritual insight can emerge. There is also a profound equality in horizontal prayer. When standing, kneeling, or sitting, human bodies express the hierarchies and distinctions of our physical forms, differences in height, posture, and physical capability. But in the horizontal position, these distinctions diminish. Whether king or commoner, young or old, all souls approach the divine from the same level when lying down. This physical leveling reminds us of the essential equality of all beings before the eternal. Water, that primordial symbol of spiritual consciousness, naturally seeks horizontal alignment. Rivers, lakes, and oceans all express this horizontal tendency, creating reflective surfaces that mirror the heavens above. When we pray lying down, we mirror this quality of reflective receptivity. Like still waters that perfectly reflect the sky, the horizontally aligned soul becomes a clear mirror for divine impression, undistorted by the vertical tensions of willed effort. The medical understanding of our physiology adds another dimension to this spiritual symbolism. In the horizontal position, blood flow equalizes throughout the body, reducing the heart's effort to circulate life-giving nourishment. This physiological ease creates conditions where the subtle energies of the body can redistribute, often resulting in heightened sensitivity to spiritual impressions and energetic shifts that might go unnoticed in more active postures. Throughout spiritual literature, we find references to resting in God, lying in green pastures, and being still to know. These teachings point to the profound spiritual wisdom of horizontal surrender. When we pray lying down, we physically embody these ancient instructions, creating harmony between our outer form and inner intention that can deepen our communion with the divine in uniquely powerful ways. As we conclude our exploration of prayer postures and their spiritual significance, we arrive at perhaps the most liberating truth of all. The soul itself is not bound by physical positioning. While our bodily alignment can influence and enhance our spiritual experience, the essence of prayer transcends all external forms. This final understanding brings us full circle to the heart of authentic spiritual practice. Throughout the ages, spiritual seekers have sometimes become overly concerned with the outward forms of devotion, the precise angles of prostration, the exact positioning of hands, or the specific orientations of the body. While these forms carry meaningful symbolism and energetic significance as we've explored, they remain instruments rather than the music itself. The true voice of prayer emerges from depths far beyond physical positioning. Cayce repeatedly emphasized this principle in his spiritual teachings. While acknowledging the subtle energetic influences of bodily posture, he maintained that the most powerful determinant of spiritual connection is not position, but intention. A prayer offered with divided attention while in perfect posture carries less spiritual potency than one offered with complete devotion while lying in a hospital bed. The body may create conducive conditions, but the heart determines the prayer's ultimate reach. Consider those who face physical limitations that restrict their prayer postures. The individual confined to a wheelchair, the bedridden elder, or the person with mobility challenges. Are their prayers somehow diminished by their inability to assume traditional postures? Divine wisdom would surely suggest otherwise. In fact, their prayers may carry additional power precisely because they transcend physical limitation, demonstrating that the soul's communion with the eternal is not contingent upon bodily configuration. This understanding liberates us from rigid formalism while still honoring the wisdom of traditional practices. We recognize that standing, kneeling, sitting, and lying each offer unique spiritual benefits, yet none exclusively contains the fullness of prayer's potential. Like different doors opening into the same sacred chamber, these postures offer varied points of entry into the singular experience of divine communion. The true determinants of prayer's efficacy lie in qualities that transcend the physical: sincerity of heart, clarity of intention, depth of surrender, and alignment of will with divine purpose. These internal conditions create the authentic channel through which prayer operates, regardless of whether the body stands tall, kneels in reverence, sits in contemplation, or lies in repose. This more essential understanding harmonizes with the mystical core of all great spiritual traditions. The Sufi poet Rumi captured it perfectly when he wrote, "There are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground." His words remind us that devotion finds countless forms of expression, none containing the absolute truth, yet each offering a valid pathway to the divine when walked with sincere heart. Modern research into consciousness supports this integrative view. Studies of prayer and meditation consistently find that while physical practices influence brainwave patterns and physiological states, the practitioner's intention and focused attention remain the most significant variables in determining outcomes. The body creates a container, but consciousness determines what fills it. Perhaps the most profound spiritual truth about prayer posture emerges when we contemplate the nature of the soul itself. While temporarily expressed through physical form, the soul's essential nature transcends materiality. It exists beyond the constraints of space, time, and physical positioning. From this perspective, all prayer postures can be understood as symbolic gestures, meaningful yet provisional expressions of a communion that ultimately occurs in dimensions beyond the physical. This understanding doesn't diminish the value of our exploration. Rather, it places posture in its proper context, as a supportive element rather than an essential requirement of spiritual communion. The body becomes a sacred instrument through which the soul expresses its devotion, with each posture offering unique qualities of expression. Like different musical instruments in an orchestra, each contributes its distinctive voice to the symphony of prayer. When we pray lying down, therefore, we engage a particular quality of surrender and receptivity that can beautifully facilitate certain aspects of spiritual experience. Yet we need not concern ourselves with whether this horizontal position is correct or optimal in any absolute sense. The true measure of our prayer's authenticity lies not in our physical alignment, but in our spiritual alignment, the degree to which our whole being harmonizes with divine intention. This perspective brings freedom. We can explore and appreciate the subtle, energetic differences between prayer postures without becoming attached to them. We can honor traditional forms while remaining flexible and responsive to the unique needs of each moment. We can discover which postures best support different aspects of our spiritual practice, while remembering that the essence of prayer transcends all forms. In the end, whether standing, kneeling, sitting, or lying down, the most powerful prayer emerges when the soul aligns itself with eternal truth. Physical positioning may facilitate this alignment, but never determines it. The divine responds not to the angle of our spine, but to the orientation of our heart, not to the position of our hands, but to the extension of our consciousness, not to the stability of our posture, but to the steadfastness of our devotion. Let us therefore approach prayer with both wisdom and freedom, honoring the sacred traditions that have illuminated specific postures, while remembering that the soul itself knows no such limitations. In this balanced understanding, we discover that while the body may temporarily assume horizontal or vertical alignment, the soul's true posture is always one of expansive openness to the divine presence that permeates all existence. If these spiritual insights have touched your soul, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your subscription helps us continue sharing these timeless teachings with others seeking deeper understanding. Leave a comment below, sharing how prayer impacts your spiritual journey. What position do you find most meaningful in your own practice? Remember, every subscription and comment creates a ripple of spiritual awareness in our community. Click subscribe now and join us on this path of awakening.